I've been a Playboy for 3 years and learned 10 insanely valuable lessons about getting girls that I wish I knew when I was younger, starting with the right way to charm a girl. The other day I was out at the bar in Norway when I saw a girl who had a really cool pistol tattoo on her arm with a big suppressor, and I was like, I genuinely think that is cool. So I went up to her, gave her a genuine compliment on it, asked her her name, started a conversation. Later on in the conversation, I complimented her how good her English was, how smart she was. She was actually very intelligent, and she loved these things, and she took to me really quickly. We kissed within 10 minutes, and it was just a good experience overall. And the way that you're going to charm a girl is by mirroring her, which means reflecting back to her her own tastes, values, and opinions, and also giving her compliments that are genuine, but not on like her beauty and superficial things, but on meaningful things like her intelligence, how good she is at English if she's a foreign girl, things along those lines, like her humor, her good heart. Those are going to carry so much more weight, especially for the prettiest girls who get compliments all the time. Doing something that's way more meaningful and in the moment, like appropriate for the conversation, something that's very true to the context of the situation, she's going to appreciate 10 times more. Before we get into how to build sexual tension, there's one trait that you need to have if you want to be a Playboy. So about 2 years ago, I met a Swedish girl who was 5'11", and I am 5'7", so she was significantly taller than me. And we hit it off right off the bat. I was staring into her eyes, building the sexual tension, having a great conversation. And we didn't sleep with each other that night, but we kept seeing each other at the club, and every time it was just a good time. And one of these nights, she asked me, "Don't you care that I'm taller than you?" And I simply just said no. And I laughed and smiled and just looked at her in the eyes confidently. And that night she came home with me. See, if you want to be a Playboy, you need to have confidence. And your confidence is going to be portrayed in having strong body language, strong eye contact, being a relaxed, smiley, calm, cool, assertive man. That is all it takes. This is all you need to be confident. And if you are confident, it is going to 10x your success as a Playboy. And once you have confidence, how do you build sexual tension? So about 2 weeks ago, I was walking from one bar to another here in Norway when a group of girls said something about me. They didn't say it to me, but they just said, I think they were mentioning like I was looking good. So I kind of just said like, hey, excuse me, what's up guys? And we started talking, and one of them in specific, I started having a really good conversation with, and her friends ended up leaving us. They went to the bar they were gonna go to. So we're just there chatting, having a good time, laughing. And about like 5 to 8 minutes in, I remember the conversation went silent, but I was just staring at her eyes. And she started to get all like laughy and giddy, and she was just like looking away, and she's like, what are you doing to me? Like, don't look at me in my eyes like that. And it was just building so much sexual tension. So the eyes is where you're gonna build a lot of sexual tension. And that is the lesson of this story, is that eye contact is so powerful. From the second a girl sees you that you've never met before, to when you're deep in conversation and there's a moment of silence and you just stare into a girl's eyes. This is where all the sexual tension is built. There's a lot of other things you can do, but the number one area that's gonna do 90% of the work is gonna be the eyes. And boys, if you want all my Playboy secrets that I cannot share on YouTube because they would get me banned, I'm going to be giving those to you for free, and they're the first link in the description below. But if you make this next mistake, girls won't take to you no matter how much you implement the previous tricks. So at 20, I went to Sweden for the first time as an adult, and I started sleeping with a bunch of girls and having a ton of success. But I was still very inexperienced in bed, and I was a bit selfish, just prioritizing myself when I would have experiences with these girls. So I quickly got a reputation in this small town of being just like a selfish Playboy. And this affected the ability for me to get girls in the future, especially those amongst like friend groups, or even a girl who's like friends with friends. And it's a small town, so there's not that many friend groups. And this really messed things up for me a little bit in year 2, but really in year 3, that third summer, it was really difficult. I had some success, and there was new people that I was kind of meeting, but there was just a lot of girls who, they'd be like, oh, I know about you. And what you really got to prioritize is your reputation. Reputation control is huge. And now, if you are in a small city, there's something that you can actually do that will help you out. So I met a friend who is now my best friend in my second year in Sweden, my second summer there. And he told me, he knew of my reputation as well from some of the girls he would hang out with. And he was like, bro, you fucked up. And I was like, well, what am I supposed to do? And he was like, what you have to do is you have to give the girls the best night of their life. You have to make them come like 5 times. You got to make them really enjoy this experience because they're going to tell their friends about this. And I was like, oh, I see what you're saying here. And then their friends, given the opportunity to get with you, they're going to want to experience this good night as well. So you can see how this snowballs, and your reputation can either serve you or it can harm you. So you really need to prioritize giving girls really good experiences, really like mastering your performance in bed, because this is what the whole thing is all about. This is all the girls are going to talk about and care about. So you need to have that dialed in, and this is going to do so much for your reputation. And there's another thing you have to do once you start playing the field. So the first time I felt socially in tune was at 19. Before this, I was an absolute idiot socially. I'd read How to Win Friends and Influence People, and I was reading What Everybody is Saying, which is an ex-FBI agent's book on nonverbal communication. And I was at the bar with my friends in New York having a conversation with this girl, and I could just see that she was really not into it. She was just giving me like one-word answers, one-liners, not asking anything back. Her body language was starting to turn away, and I just read about that. So I was like, you know what? Have a good night. And then she was like appreciative of this. She was like, oh, thank you. Yeah. And then she walked off. But the lesson here is you need to be very socially and emotionally in tune, and this will actually get you more success than you could imagine. Knowing when to walk away and just let the conversation end with a girl who's not interested is going to be one of the most valuable things you learn how to do. Because from the art of seduction, the number one rule is choose the right target. If a girl is not receptive to your approach, there's nothing you can do to convince her otherwise. So you have so much more probability of success if you recognize a girl is not interested in you. There's 0% chance she's going to sleep with you. Just go on to the next one, and then boom, you found a girl who is interested in you, and now she's in your bed. So that's the game, bro. And you need to know this by just developing emotional and social intelligence. And if you really want to be a playboy, you need to do this next thing. So at 20, I went to Sweden for the first time rolling alone. I showed up to a club all by myself, and I did really well. But the second year, I ended up making friends with a guy who was way more of a playboy than I was. He had tons of experience. I mentioned him earlier. And he started rubbing off on me. He started giving me intros to girls that he knew. He started giving me tips, advice, like I mentioned earlier as well. And the lesson here is that you need to get playboy friends. You are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So if you're spending time with lames, this is not going to rub off well on you. If you are spending time with dudes who are not confident, this is just a recipe for disaster. You need to find friends who are further ahead with girls than you are. And you need to start hanging around these dudes because their behaviors, their characteristics, the way they act is going to rub off on you. And you're just going to become like them and become smooth with girls. Now, if you want to get girls everywhere you go, you need to focus on this. So before 19, when I was younger, I did nothing to focus on improving myself between my appearance. I would go to school with my hair a complete mess. I would sometimes not shave and have scruff. I didn't wear good fitted clothes or have any style. I looked terrible as a whole. And after my breakup at 19, I really started to prioritize every area of self-development between my physical, my internal, doing things like reading, meditating, journaling, working out, everything I can do to improve myself as a whole, prioritizing my mental and physical health and as well as my appearance, my money, status, everything has been my priority for the last 3 years. And this has made a world of a difference. And what you got to realize is you want to be an object of desire. You want to be equivalent in the masculine sense to a girl who has, a beautiful face, nice tits, and a good ass. Every guy wants her. You need to become that for girls if you really want to have success on the next level. This is just the cheat code, and it takes a lot of work on your part, but doing this will pay off tenfold. Now, here's a lesson that's not so fun, but extremely valuable. So I can confidently state throughout this journey over the last 3 years, I have dealt with thousands of rejections, whether they're just right off the bat, a conversation that went for 30 seconds, a couple minutes, and then led nowhere, me asking for the snap and not getting it, or the number and not getting it, or literally bringing a girl home. There was one time I brought 2 girls home. I thought I was gonna have a threesome, and I did nothing but kiss them, and I was so disappointed. So in this journey of being a playboy, you are going to have so many setbacks, so many disappointments, so many rejections, and you just gotta embrace it and understand that it's gonna happen. Because if you don't and you think that everything's gonna be smooth sailing, you're gonna be really disappointed when you start running into some of these. So this is a necessary step, is that you need to just accept you're gonna face rejections, challenges, setbacks, and it's all part of the learning process. It's all gonna allow you to level up your skills as a playboy and get better in the long run. Piggybacking off of the last lesson, you need to know this as well. So the second night I was out in Norway, a girl was all over me to a degree I've never experienced. She was kissing me, showering me with compliments, touching me. I thought I had it in the bag. I didn't even bother talking to any other girls. Rookie mistake, by the way. And at the end of the night, she ended up changing her mind and not wanting to come home with me. And there was nothing I could do about it. So I just said, okay, have a good night. And I went home. You need to know when to quit. And this is something that sucks, but it's something that is just going to serve you in the long run because you're preserving your self-respect. She's going to notice that. You're going to notice it internally because you can't lie to yourself. And this is only going to help you in the long run. It's going to help you get more girls. It's going to help you preserve the thing that you should value most is your self-respect. And this last one's a way for you to become seriously in tune with girls. So about 2 summers ago in Sweden, I befriended a girl in a completely platonic way. Nothing sexual has happened between us since. So this entire time, we were just talking about relationships, male-female dynamics, obviously tons of other things as well. But it was a long time where I could spend with a girl and really see into her and learn about female nature and ask her questions that, it doesn't really matter what I say because I'm not trying to pursue her sexually. We're just friends in the end of the day. So I really got to learn a lot about her. And this is one thing you can utilize as well is making female friends. Now, I wouldn't recommend this as just like one thing you do if you're not having sex. Like I was having so much sex that a female friend at this point was just like another guy friend. I didn't really care. I wasn't thirsty for any more girls. I was having so much success. But this is something that can really help you learn about female nature, learn about girls, just so many different things, and realize that they are very similar to us. They experience all the same anxieties, issues, and it can just give you a new perspective that you may never have seen before. So there is value in having platonic female friends for helping you level up your Playboy skills. And once again, boys, if you want all my secrets that I cannot share on YouTube, those are going to be the first link in the description below. You can grab those for free now.